And good evening, and thanks so much for joining us tonight on this very special edition of 2 News Oklahoma, Surviving the Storm. Now, I'm current Chief Meteorologist Mike Collier, joined by our incoming Chief Meteorologist Michael Singer. Michael, great to have you here.
And an honor to be here. We are ready for a severe weather season with our weather team. Tonight, we're going to get you ready to, of course, over the next half hour, cover to stay safe. Looking back at some major weather events that we had last spring, maybe that derecho we had back in June.
We won't ever forget that anytime soon.
That will be a tough one to forget. And of course, a lot more coming up too.
Exactly. For our first story tonight, we're starting with the basics. What is a thunderstorm, and what do you need to know about it?
For some, thunderstorms are scary, with uncertainty in what may happen when they occur. For others, a fascination of the beauty and power of Mother Nature. While storms often sound the same, not all are the same. Did you know there are 4 types of thunderstorms? Number 1, single cell thunderstorms. These are most common in the summer months. They pop up in the daytime heating and often diminish in the evening and night. Often non-severe, but can occasionally become severe with damaging wind gusts as they collapse, or could produce lower-end, smaller hailstones. Single-cell storms are often short-lived, usually lasting no more than an hour. On to number 2, multi-cell thunderstorms. These are storms that are clustered together, often at different points in their life cycle. These can form along stalled fronts or boundaries and sometimes form as outflow from nearby storms generates new storm formation. Like single-cell storms, these can occasionally produce severe weather, but any hail or wind threat is usually spotty and not organized. Heavy rain and flash flooding, though, can become a bigger concern if storms start to train over an area. Now we're on to number 3, squall lines. Squall lines are a line of multiple storms that can even stretch for hundreds of miles. These storms have the potential to produce widespread wind damage over a large area, and in extreme cases can stretch that wind damage for hundreds of miles, as we witnessed with the Father's Day weekend derecho last year. A derecho is a type of squall line. Squall lines can produce hail as well, but hail is not usually the biggest concern with a squall line. Tornadoes aren't common, but they can occur if there's a lot of wind shear in the atmosphere ahead of an approaching squall line. The tornadoes that form within squall lines most often form and dissipate quickly. I'll often refer to them as a spin-up. Last but not least, the king of thunderstorms, the supercell, number 4. The supercell is different than other storms because the updraft is rotating. That's the air that's rising up through the thunderstorm. This is called the mesocyclone. Rotating updrafts are more efficient at carrying air upward through the atmosphere, and stronger updrafts equal stronger thunderstorms. Supercells are capable of all severe weather threats. The largest hailstones, the most violent tornadoes are almost always produced by supercell thunderstorms. Supercells have unique structure, becoming small, self-efficient weather systems with air flowing into and out of the storm. As a result, supercells can last for hours at a time and in rare cases can travel across multiple states. Classic and high precipitation supercells tend to be more severe. Thunderstorms, tornadoes, supercells, common words you've probably heard of.
But have you heard of a derecho? It's what wreaked havoc on Tulsa and surrounding areas in June of last year. Widespread power outages, major damage, and tonight meteorologist Brandon Woolley is walking us through the anatomy of a derecho.
50 degrees, 51 in Pryor, and 46 degrees. I've been covering weather in Oklahoma since 2015, and one of the most memorable events I've witnessed was the June 17th and 18th, 2023 straight line damaging wind event. A line of severe storms arrived late Saturday night and lasted into the very early morning hours of Father's Day. It was classified later as a derecho, which is when a wind-damaged swath extends for more than 240 miles and includes wind gusts of 58 miles per hour or greater along its path. Our same storm system had already caused damage well before it arrived in eastern Oklahoma. Widespread thunderstorm wind damage occurred with damage consistent with 80 to 100 plus mile per hour winds. Midtown Tulsa was one of the most damaged areas. Look at this clip when our power at 2 News took a hit before our generator kicked on.
And just east of here at Jinx Riverside Airport, where it's pitch black now.
This was just after midnight. Chief Meteorologist Mike Collier and I were on air covering the storm. Our generator ended up staying on for several days to keep our station running with no interruptions. Whole trees and power poles came down within seconds, some crashing into homes and vehicles. At the height of the storm, more than 350,000 power outages were reported, and it took over a week for some homes to get power restored. Many parts of the area looked like a war zone, especially when we got a better look at things at first light on Father's Day. Unfortunately, the storm resulted in 1 fatality and 3 injuries in Creek County. Meteorologist Brandon Woolley, 2 News Oklahoma weather.
So that derecho will be etched in my mind for a very, very long time. Just here around the station, just trying to drive to the station, it looked like a war zone through here.
Yeah, and I was out on that storm when it first was a supercell out in the Oklahoma Panhandle, and I remember texting you as I was still west of Enid because, you know, I was going to be chasing it as it came into green country later that night, and I told you I wasn't sure if I was going to get through Enid with all the stoplights, if it was going to overtake me, and if it overtakes you, there's no getting back out ahead of it. But what a night, just an unforgettable night in Tulsa and green country.
Yeah, those scars will live on for a long time. Now, when we forecast, we think about damage threats. Meteorologist Andy Brown breaks down the 3 kinds of damage threats.
Severe thunderstorms happen frequently here in green country, and as you know, no one severe thunderstorm is like another. Severe threats can range from cloud to ground lightning or damaging winds to large hail and even tornadoes. For this reason, the National Weather Service has added a damage threat category to each severe thunderstorm warning to better address its severity and potential impacts of that particular storm. There are 3 categories for a storm, starting with a base or standard thunderstorm. This type is categorized as severe when it produces hail 1 inch in diameter, that is quarter in size, and winds of at least 58 miles per hour. Now, when we're talking about our next category, which is considerable thunderstorm, hail in this category is at least 1 inch and 3/4 in diameter. That is golf ball in size with winds 70 miles per hour. Now, the third category that we're talking about is a destructive thunderstorm. Hail can be upwards of 2 3/4 inches in diameter. That is the size of a baseball with winds 80 miles per hour. Warnings in this category automatically activate a wireless emergency alert on smartphones within the warned area and activates tornado sirens. On average, the National Weather Service tells me only 10% of all severe thunderstorms reach the destructive category each year. Most of these storms are damaging wind events like the big June 18th, 2023 Father's Day derecho that left a path of destruction across Tulsa and surrounding counties. Meteorologist Andy Brown, 2 News Oklahoma weather.
Tornadoes in Oklahoma can happen at any time of the year, but there is a specific period when they happen the most. That time frame is usually March through June, with a very noticeable peak typically in May. Another peak in tornado activity can happen during the fall around October. When a tornado warning is issued for your area, you'll want to act immediately to keep you and your family safe. At home, make sure everyone knows where their safe spot is. Also recognize places where not to take shelter, such as near outside walls and windows or on a second floor. When there's a tornado warning and you're at home, you want to be on the first floor, essentially away from outside walls or windows. In my house, this is the most centrally located room right here in the bathroom. The absolute best options at home would be in a basement or in a below ground or above ground approved tornado shelter. The worst place to shelter would be in a mobile or manufactured home. You'll want to get away from those types of structures and seek shelter elsewhere close by. If you're at work in an office building, you'll want to think about the same precautionary steps as if you were at home. If you're in an office building during a tornado warning, for example, right here at 2 News Oklahoma, you still want to be away from outside walls or windows. For example, right here on the first floor, this green room is a very safe spot to take shelter. Being in a vehicle during a tornado is not 100% safe for obvious reasons. We get asked all the time what to do if you're driving. If you're out driving during the middle of a tornado warning and the tornado is on the way to your location, the best thing to do would be to find a safe place to shelter, such as at a grocery store or a gas station. If you're out in the middle of nowhere, pull off to the side of the road and make sure your seatbelt is on and wait for the storm to safely pass. Another option would be to get to a low-lying area such as a ditch and make yourself as flat as possible while covering your head. This could help protect you from high-speed flying debris. And remember, seeking shelter under structures like bridges and overpasses is a bad idea. These areas can expose you to higher wind speeds. Think the wind tunnel effect, and thus more dangerous flying debris. Stay safe this spring. Meteorologist Brandon Woolley, 2 News Oklahoma weather.
We're the only Green Country station with a bilingual meteorologist, which will have a huge impact during severe weather and emergency situations.
Yeah, we'll have more coming up here this evening. Welcome back. As we dive into spring, we're zooming out a bit for a look at how global weather patterns impact what happens here locally.
Meteorologist Annie Brown breaks down that transition from El Nino to La Nina.
If you follow the weather, which most Okies do, then you might already know that since about midsummer, we have been in an El Nino weather pattern. Now, El Nino is a climate phenomenon that describes the unusual warming of surface waters in the Pacific Ocean. Now, this warming causes a shift in the atmospheric circulation and precipitation patterns. El Nino is known for its cooler than normal temperatures across the southern plains with higher amounts of rain and/or snow, especially during the fall and winter. Now, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration came out with its latest prediction calling for El Nino to play out early this spring and switch to a La Nina possibly during the summer. Now, La Nina would result in the opposite of El Nino with above average temperatures and below normal rain and/or snow in our part of the world. La Nina is known for encouraging active and destructive Atlantic hurricane seasons as well as promoting dry conditions leading to drought in Oklahoma. Meteorologist Annie Brown, 2 News Oklahoma weather.
From a young age, I was the one who translated the weather for my parents. I would stand in front of the TV and let them know what the local meteorologists were saying. I often wondered why there wasn't a meteorologist who spoke Spanish to help people like my parents, especially during severe weather. Since joining KJRH, helping the Hispanic community is my goal and is shaping my career.
Especialmente viernes por la tarde, también tenemos probabilidad de alguna.
I do weather forecasts in Spanish that are posted to YouTube and our KJRH website. I also send a Spanish weather report to a radio station.
Yo me paro enfrente de la pantalla verde
and my latest project, something that I look forward to every day.
Jueves y también el viernes.
In hopes of being the change for someone, I thought of doing school talks with students who primarily speak Spanish. The response I'm getting is overwhelming, but reassured me that there is truly a need for more Spanish-speaking meteorologists in Oklahoma.
Eso es lo que nosotros lo estamos fijando.
My goal is to show them that someone like me, whose first language is Spanish, could further their education and achieve their dream job. I also hope they go home to their parents with that new knowledge of severe weather safety, something I didn't have growing up.
It looks very scary.
Preparado, no asustado.
Being prepared is why we take the KJRH weather show to elementary schools across Green Country.
I thought that was really cool.
Tienen una tormenta en su
Because I'm bilingual, I can share life-saving severe weather information in both English and Spanish.
Pues si todos tienen ventanas, entonces el lugar
Like at this stop at Felicitas Mendez Elementary, where Samantha Wagner teaches.
I thought it was so cool for our students to be able to see a presentation like this in Spanish, since many of them are bilingual or learning to be bilingual.
Students like Madeline get reassurance about where to go to be safe when tornadoes threaten.
I have this little closet where my family can fit in, and when there's tornadoes, we go there.
Vital information those new to our community may not know.
My favorite part was that you showed the kids and told the kids how to be safe in extreme weather, because many of them might not know that, and they are able to, go home and share that with their families.
Refugio, porque ¿qué significa eso? Es que
I have mostly English-speaking news, and so I think it's really important for the kids to be able to see a presentation like this in Spanish, in their native language, to see that, also that they can grow up and do this one day and be a bilingual meteorologist.
I've never been scared of tornadoes, and they seem really cool to me. And now I know how to be safe when a tornado happens. So.
Emma Landeros, 2 News Weather.
Mike, you've got our spring forecast coming up.
Whew, the pressure is on. My last spring forecast. I'll have that right after this. And welcome back once again. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Collier with your spring outlook as we watch for the potential for stormy season on the way. As we take a look at our seasonal temperature outlook, this is from the Climate Prediction Center. And when we see these oranges, that shows us the potential to be above normal. And that could end up just being a degree or two above. But nonetheless, there is the potential for above normal temperatures across the South Central Plains to the Great Lakes region, all the way back to the Pacific Northwest. And that means we do expect a pretty warm May, June, July as well. And that could set up some really hot temperatures as we head into the month of July. And really, that is all dependent on how much rain we can get this spring season. If our ground is very saturated, then that might squash the heat up just a little bit, but the humidity goes up, so it kind of counteracts that either way. It does look warmer than normal across the Central Plains. Now, as far as precip is concerned, there is a higher potential for storms to the east of us. So these storm systems will come out, and right now it appears potentially the higher moisture content will be to the east of us, and those storms could interact with the deeper moisture east where the potential exists for more frequency of thunderstorms. Now, we look back over the past 50, 70 years, and we look at going from an El Nino to a La Nina pattern and what typically happens as far as tornadoes are concerned. And what we found is there is a higher frequency of tornadic activity, including Tulsa, western Oklahoma, and Kansas, and Nebraska on towards the Twin Cities. So in this area here, we've seen a higher frequency of tornadoes during that transition from El Nino to La Nina, as meteorologist Andy Brown was discussing earlier. So our storm team's going to be watching that very closely and, of course, keeping you prepared and not scared as we head into severe weather season. We have so much more for you coming up here in just a few short minutes.
During severe weather, we have eyes in the studio watching radar, but we also have eyes on the roads here in our 2 News storm truck, where we're able to communicate what we're seeing with how much rain we're seeing, how strong the winds are, if we're seeing any hail, and if we're seeing a tornado on the ground.
The anemometer lets us know how strong the winds are in that area, and we can track the current temperatures in the storm. It's real-time, critical information to keep you safe and show you in real time what's happening in the storm.
One of the neat features of this storm truck is the variety of cameras that we have here. We have 2 inside the storm truck, one that's going to be facing the meteorologist, the other that I mentioned is facing the roadways, and we have our 360 camera. This allows us to get a wider view as storms continue to move in here across green country, and it helps us get all of the angles that we need.
Emma Landeros, 2 News Weather.
We're about to wrap it up tonight. If you haven't heard, after 23 years, I'm leaving the television business. And so I've announced my departure April 30th. But we already have, which we knew all along, who our next chief is going to be. And that's meteorologist Michael Sager. Congratulations to you, sir. You're going to do a fantastic job. He's a wonderful, wonderful guy. And I highly encourage you keep viewing him as we head into the next couple of years.
Well, it's an honor, Mike. Big shoes to fill, obviously,
Thank you.
and an honor to fill those shoes and follow in your footsteps. And we saw Annie in the storm truck there. I'm still hoping, through the end of April, I can get on that storm truck a little bit before before I actually take over May 1st.
Yeah. So in the meantime, you'll still be tracking storms in our storm truck. I'll still be covering severe weather from the studio through April 30th, and then he takes over the keys. I've given him all the hints where all the snacks are hidden, and of course the Red Bull to keep them up late at night.
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks to everybody out there. The support has been amazing that I've
has.
received on social media and friends and family. So I just appreciate that so much and look forward to taking the reins eventually.
Big day, May 1st. In the meantime, continue to follow us and don't forget to download the app. And you can also follow us along as well at kidrh.com. We hope you have a wonderful evening. Remember, don't be scared, be prepared.